Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare. Jai Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe, Jai Jagannath Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladeva Jai Subhadra, Jai Lakshmi Narsimha Lakshmi Narsimha Lakshmi Narsimha, Jai Jai Lakshmi Narsimha, Jaya Gauranita Gauranita Gauranita, Jaya Gauranita, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Prabhupada. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamhyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Sarasate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namine Shri Varshabhalari Devi Daitaya Kripabhaye Krishna Sambandha Vidyana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhuri Jala Premada Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostate Namaste Gauravani Shri Murti Dinatarine Rupanuga Viruddhapa Siddhanta Dvantaharine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Viplambar Sambodhe Padambujayate Namaha. Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gaura Virbhava Bhumi Swam Nirdishta Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannathayate Namaha. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo mahavadanyaya Krishna prema pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya namne Gauratishe namaha. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupah Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostate Jaitam Suratau Pangur Mama Mandir Mater Gati Mat Sarva Sapadam Bhojo Shri Radha Madana Mohano Divyatandaranyam Kalpadrumadha Shri Madratnagara Simhasanastau Shri Madradha Shila Govinda Devo Prishthalibhi Sevimanusmarami Shriman Rasa Sarambhi Vamshi Vata Tarasitah Karshan Venu Sunair Gopir Gopinatha Shri Suna Takta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So yesterday we saw what are the 6 urges. If a sober man controls that, or whoever is controlling, he is a sober person, sadbhir Purusha, then he is eligible to make disciples all over the world. So that should be the characteristic of, or the features of the spiritual master. Now, what are the 6 things by which our devotion is reduced, or devotion is completely spoiled? We should know what are the 6 things which spoils our devotion. What are the 6 things which enhances our devotion, increases our devotion. Atyahara prayasascha prajlpo niyamagrahah jana-sangas laulyam cha sadbhir bhaktir vinasyati. Atyahara prayasascha prajlpo niyamagrahah jana-sangas laulyam cha sadbhir bhaktir vinasyati. 6 things which spoils our devotion. Atyahara, overeating. What happens if you overeat? Naturally, we'll sleep also. And we'll not be able to wake up early in the morning. We cannot chant. One meaning of atyahara, gross meaning. Subtle meaning, trying to gather knowledge by reading many books, different types of books. Atyahara, that is also atyahara, trying to accumulate many books, trying to accumulate a lot of knowledge. It also spoils our devotion. Because focused attention is not there. Prayasas, too much of endeavor. Anything you say, too much of endeavor also spoils our devotion. Unwanted endeavor, which is not necessary. Prajlpo, talking some useless things, which has no meaning in our life. Prajlpa. Niyamagrahah. 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 Two meanings are there. Niyamagrahah. Taking up the regulations only for the sake of taking. When you go to the temple, you put tilak and all. After that, you forget. You go like a materialistic person. If somebody sees you, they will not even be reminded of Krishna. But when you enter the temple, you just put tilak and all, and go like a devotee. That means following the rules and regulations just for the sake of following. Or niyamagrahah, giving up the rules and regulations at all, completely. Completely giving up rules and regulations. One is artificially taking up rules and regulations just for the sake of taking. Jana-sangas, trying to mingle with materialistic people. And if you mingle with materialistic people, naturally you will be talking also on material things, just to keep the relationship. That means more than devotional service, relationship is given so much of importance. Jana-sangas, laulyam cha, greed for money. If there is a greed to accumulate more, naturally a lot of endeavor is done, prayasas. And when there is a greed for increasing the material facilities, then a lot of prayasas, then a lot of prajlpa, automatic niyamagrahah, then atyahara automatically happens, and jana-sangas also happens. So these are the 6 things which spoils our devotion. So we have to be very careful. Atyahara. Srila Prabhupada writes that because of atyahara, accumulating trying to have many books. Like some people, they refer to so many commentaries of Bhagavad Gita from unscrupulous people. There are Sampradayik teachings, there are Sampradayik commentaries written by our acharyas. There are unscrupulous people who have given also the commentaries on Bhagavad Gita, trying to read that also, trying to read some other books also. So in this way, atyahara, prayasascha, prajlpaha, niyamagrahah, jana-sangascha, laulyam cha. So these are the 6 things which spoils our devotion. Okay. Neeraj Prabhu, read the verse, then read the translation. After you read the verse, Ashok Prabhuji also will read the verse, and Narayan will read the verse.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanwas Pranam. Atyahara prayasascha prajlpo niyamagrahah jana-sangascha laulyam cha sadbhir bhakti vinasyati.
Ashok Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Atyahara prayasascha prajlpa niyamagrahah jana-sangascha laulyam jana-sangascha laulyam cha sadbhir bhaktir vinasyati.
Narayan.
अत्याहार प्रयासश्च प्रजल्पो नियमाग्रहः जनसंघश्च लौल्यं च षड्भिर्भक्तिर्विनश्यति.
Jumur. Okay, Gadi Prabhu.
atyaharah prayasascha prajlpo niyamagrahah jana-sangascha laulyam cha sadbhir bhakti vinasyati.
Gadi Prabhu, read the verse.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी। अत्याहार प्रयासश्च प्रजल्पो नियमाग्रह जनसंगश्च लौल्यं च षड्भिर्भक्तिर्विनश्यति।
Okay, read the translation. Yes, please. Unmute.
Yes, Mataji. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. One's devotional service is spoiled when he becomes too entangled in the following 6 activities. 1. Eating more than necessary or collecting more funds than required. 2. Over-endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain. 3. Talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters. 4. Practicing the scriptural rules and regulations only for the sake of following them and not for the sake of spiritual advancement, or rejecting the rules and regulations of the scriptures and working independently or whimsically. 5. Associating with worldly-minded persons who are not interested in Krishna consciousness. And 6. Being greedy for mundane achievements.
Okay.
Purport.
You read very nicely, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Vandana Mataji, you read.
Hare Krishna. Human life is meant for plain living and high thinking. Since all conditioned living beings are under the control of Lord's third energy, this material world is designed so that one is obliged to work. The Supreme Personality of Godhead had 3 primary energies or potencies. The first one is called antaranga-sakti or the internal potency. The second one is the tatastha-sakti or the marginal potency. The third is bahiranga-sakti or external potency. The living entities constitute of marginal potency and they are situated between the internal and the external potency. Being subordinate as eternal servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Jivatmas or atomic living entities must remain under the control of either the internal or the external potency. When they are under the control of the internal potency, they display their natural constitutional activity, namely constant engagement in the devotional service of the Lord. This is stated in Bhagavad Gita 9.13.
Mahatmanastu mam partha devim prakritim ashrita bhajantanya sumanaso gyatva
Ananya manaso, bhajantyananya manaso,
bhajantyanya manaso gyatva bhutadi avyayam.
O son of Partha, those who are deluded, the great soul, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible.
So stop here. So here see Srila Prabhupada how he starts. Atyahara prayasascha. So when a person is engrossed in this materialistic activity, when he is forgetting his constitutional position. So Prabhupada starts with 3 primary energies of Krishna, internal, marginal, external. So tatastha-sakti has an option to be captivated by marginal energy, by external energy, or can take shelter of internal energy. So that is how Prabhupada says that if he is always reminded of his constitutional position, then he is a Mahatma. Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashitah. Daivim prakritim. He is under the care or shelter of internal energy. Bhajantyanya manaso gyatva bhutadim avyayam. That is how he understands the wonderful nature of Krishna, that how Krishna is eternal, how Krishna is avyayam, inexhaustible, original. In this way, he is reminded of his constitutional position, his eternity, his eternal service to Krishna. How Krishna is eternal, oneself is also eternal, and our relationship is also eternal. Okay. Vishwambar Prabhu, read the.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. The word Mahatma refers to those who are broad-minded, not people-minded. People-minded person always engage in satisfying their senses. Sometimes expand their activities in order to do good for others. So some ism like nationalism, ism like nationalism, humanitarianism, or altruism. They may reject personal sense gratification for the sense gratification of others, like the members of their family, community, or society, either national or international. Actually, all this is extended sense gratification from personal to communal to social. This may all be very good from the material point of view, but such activities have no spiritual value. The basis of such activity is sense gratification, either personal or extended. Only when a person gratifies the senses of the Supreme Lord can he be called a Mahatma or broad-minded person.
No, stop here. So isms, nationalism, humanitarianism, altruism, all these things are making us forget our constitutional position. Okay, all these things are only done by cripple-minded person. He is not a broad-minded person. Because he sees himself or he identifies himself to a particular community. He identifies himself with particular nation. That is why he's not broad-minded. He may be very great patriot. He may have that patriotism, but he is restricted to one boundary. But Krishna consciousness is broad-minded, seeing everyone as amshas of Krishna. Mamaivansha jivaloki jiva bhuta sanatana. Everybody is amsha of Krishna. So there he doesn't differentiate between this person, that person, or he is not differentiating between one nation, another nation. This way, Krishna consciousness is a broader concept. And Srila Prabhupada was asked that what name are you going to give to the society? They thought that Prabhupada is going to give Indian Society for Krishna Consciousness. Prabhupada said International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Lord Krishna belongs to everyone. He did not even say International Society for God Consciousness. When you say God, God becomes a common word. When you see Krishna, it becomes a proper word, a proper noun. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada's concept was very broader. That is why Mahatma refers to those who have a broader concept. Okay. Gadi Prabhu, read from you.
Krishna Mataji. In the above quoted verse from Bhagavad Gita, the words Daivim Prakritim refer to the control of the internal potency or pleasure potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This pleasure potency is manifested as Srimati Radharani or her expansion Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. When individual Jiva souls are under the control of internal energy, their only engagement is the satisfaction of Krishna or Vishnu. This is position of Mahatma. If one is not a Mahatma, he is Duratma or cripple-minded person. Such mentally crippled Duratmas are put under the control of Lord's external potency, Mahamaya.
Mahamaya.
Indeed, shall I continue, Mataji? Indeed, all living entities within this material world are under the control of Mahamaya, whose business is to subject them to the influence of threefold miseries. Adevika Klesha, suffering from demigods such as droughts, earthquakes, and storms. Adi Bhautika Klesha, sufferings caused by other living entities like insects or enemies, and Adhyatmika Klesha, sufferings caused by one's own body and mind, such as mental and physical infirmities. Daiva Bhutatma Hetavaha, the conditioned soul subjected to these three miseries by the control of external energy suffer various difficulties. The problem.
Daiva Bhutatma Hetavaha. So the conditioned soul subject to these three miseries by the control of the external energy suffer various difficulties. So three types of difficulties which is known by everyone that has been given. Adhyatmik tapa, Adi Devik tapa, Adi Bhautik tapa. So this is the living entities within this material world are under the control of Mahamaya. whose business is to subject them to the influence of threefold of miseries. So, adhyatmic tapa, the misery pertaining to the body and mind. The misery given by other living entities, adibhautik tapa. Adidevik tapa, misery is given by the demigods. Okay. Sudha Mataji, you read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. The main problem confronting the conditioned soul is the repetition of birth, old age, disease, and death. In the material world, one has to work for the maintenance of the body and soul. But how can one perform such work in a way that is favorable for the execution of Krishna consciousness? Everyone requires possessions such as food, grains, clothing, money, and other things necessary for the maintenance of the body. But one should not collect more than necessary for his actual basic needs. If this natural principle is followed, there will be no difficulty in maintaining the body. According to nature's engagement, living entities.
So here accumulation of the things. Whatever is required, that much only one has to take. If we accumulate more than required, then there is always one anxiety, where to keep, that itself is an anxiety. And sometimes you see when we buy something, we buy more than required. Then there is always there's a difficulty in storing. And after storing also, okay, you have got a place to store. In fact, how much are we really using those things? And also we should see. The cupboard is full of dresses. But are we really using those dresses? Then we use so many things. We buy whatever we see, we like it, we buy some crockeries and all those things. It's not necessary. Storing of lot of food grains, sometimes it gets spoiled. It's not necessary. Whatever is required, how much ever is required, that much only one has to do. So it is said everyone requires possessions such as food grains, clothing, other things for the maintenance of the body. But it should not be too much stored. One should not collect more than necessary for his actual basic needs. So there's a nice story here. There was a gunny bag of grains kept. The birds came, took how much is required, went. Animal came, took how much is required, went. A human came, took the whole gunny bag and ran away. So this is the tendency of human. Human means extra accumulation of the things. Always having the fear of the future. What will happen if I don't have? Let me accumulate and keep. For what sake so much of accumulation should be done? Okay. Read further, Sudha.
Yes, Mataji. According to nature's arrangement, living entities lower on the evolutionary scale do not eat or collect more than necessary. Consequently, in the animal kingdom, there is generally no economic problem or scarcity of necessities. If a bag of rice is placed in a public place, birds will come to eat a few grains and go away. A human being, however, will take away the whole bag. He will eat all his stomach can hold and then try to keep the rest in storage. According to scriptures, this collecting of more than necessary atyaharah is prohibited. Now the entire world is suffering because of it.
Hoarding, accumulating, entire world suffering. This is why there is an artificial scarcity in the world. Artificial scarcity, everything is there. Like some people have the habit of storing water. There will be water in the tank also. They'll store the water also. If like this storing habit is there, then what will happen? There will be an artificial scarcity always. Or Krishna has provided for everyone everything. Okay, Hansrubi Prabhu, read from here.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Collecting and eating more than necessary also causes prayasa or unnecessary endeavor By God's arrangement, anyone in any part of the world can live very peacefully if he has some land and a milk cow. There is no need for man to move from one place to another to earn livelihood, for one can produce food grains locally and get milk from cows. That can solve all economic problems. Fortunately, man has been given higher intelligence for cultivation of Krishna consciousness or understanding of God. One's relationship with Him and the ultimate goal of life, love of God, unfortunately, so called civilized man, not caring for God realization, utilizes his intelligence to get more than necessary and simply eat to satisfy the tongue. By God's arrangement, there is sufficient scope for the production of milk and grain for human beings all over the world. But instead of using their higher intelligence to cultivate God consciousness, so-called intelligent men misuse their intelligence to produce many unnecessary and unwanted things. Thus, factories, slaughterhouses, brothels, and liquor shops are opened. If people are advised not to collect too many goods, eat too much, or work unnecessarily to possess artificial amenities, they think they are being advised to return to the primitive way of life. Generally, people do not like to accept plain living and high thinking. This is an unfortunate position.
So Prabhupada is writing, simple living, high, people don't want that. People want to complicate their life. People want to accumulate those things which are never, once you buy, afterwards you never even look at it. There are so many things like this in the house. If you just go on seeing from corner to corner, you have so many things which you actually is not necessary for you. But we are so much attracted to those things. We buy it, we store it. Afterwards, we forget. And then we don't even maintain also. It is only full of dust. Nothing else. So in this way, and also here it said, here said that he goes from one place to another just for some livelihood. But if there is a land, there is a cow, he can easily sustain himself. But the Abolishment Act which Britishers had put, because of that Abolishment Act, the Brahmins have been deprived of land, deprived of the cow. The land was given to the Adivasis and the land is not utilized properly. So there's a great urgent need of everybody holding at least some portion of the land. So there should be small land, then cultivation of our own vegetables. The cow is there. But where those days have gone? If you see now, hardly anybody has all these things. And whatever deshi cows are also there. In the name of some diseases, they are also killed. There's a nice strategy made to kill all the deshi cows. Lumpy disease. It is attacking only deshi cows. It is not attacking the Jersey cows. So these are all the strategic political points by which they just want to destroy our Vedic culture. Okay. Anubhava Mataji, read. Anupama or Parth or Daya Sagar. Who is going to read? Parth? Yeah, read.
Human life is meant for God realization, and the human life is given higher intelligence for this purpose. Those who believe that this higher intelligence is meant to attain a higher state should follow the instructions of the Vedic literature. By taking such instructions from Vedic authority, one can actually become situated in perfect knowledge and give real meaning to life. In Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.9, Sri Sutta Goswami describes the proper human dharma in this way. Dharmasya pavargasya nartho arthayopakalpate narthasya dharmaikantasya kama labhaya hi samsmitaha. All occupational engagements, dharma, are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gain. Furthermore, one who is engaged in the ultimate occupational service should never use material gain to cultivate sense gratification.
Okay, stop here. Dharmasya pavargasya nartharthaya kalpate narthasya dharmakantasya kamo labhaya hismritaha. This is from first canto, second chapter, Srimad Bhagavatam. First canto, second chapter. Dharmasya hi apavargasya. What is the purpose of performing one's occupational duty or dharma? That is to understand apavarga. Pavarga is what? Pa, fa, ba, bhama. Parishram, lot of efforts. For fena, because of a lot of efforts, you sleep so much that you wetten your pillows also. So much of fena comes out of the mouth. Pa, fa, ba. Just vyartha. The whole life has become a waste. This whole endeavor is just a waste of time. Vyartha. Pa, fa, ba, bha is only a fear. Bha, ma. Ultimately ends to mrityu, end of everything. But the occupational duty is to ultimately understand what is liberation. What is the real meaning of liberation? Mukti tvanyatha rupam swarupena vyavastitihi. That is the real meaning of liberation. And then na arthaha nartha arthaya kalpate. So na artha arthaya kalpate. The purpose of performing one's occupational duty is not just for some material gain. It said varnashrama achrutaha purushena parapuman Vishnu aradhite pantaha nanatatosh karanam, which is for Vishnu aradhana. Why we are performing our occupational duty? So that we should satisfy Krishna. Atha pumbe dvijashreshta varnashrama vibhagasha svanishtita sadharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. It is for haritoshanam. It's actually for satisfying Krishna. So it is not for just some material gain. They should never be performed for some material gain. Narthasya dharmakantasya kamo labhaya hismritaha. Further, whoever is engaged in the ultimate occupational service should never use material gain to cultivate sense gratification. So, na arthasya dharmakantasya. Don't use that material gain for some material satisfaction. That means when you are performing the occupational duties, you will have some material gain, but that should be used for the service of Krishna. It's not just for one's own sense gratification. Okay, Dayasagar Prabhu, read from here.
Hare Krishna Mataji. The first step in human civilization consists of occupational arrangements performed according to the scriptural injunctions. The higher intelligence of human being should be trained to understand basic dharma. In human society, there are various religious conceptions characterized as Hindu, Christian, Hebrew, Muhammadan, Buddhist, and so on. For without religion, human society is no better than animal society. As stated above, dharmasya apavargyasya nartho arthaya pakalpate. Religion is meant for attaining emancipation, not for getting bread. Sometimes human society manufactures a system of so-called religion aimed at material advancement, but that is far from the purpose of true dharma. Religion entails understanding the law of God, because the proper execution of these laws ultimately leads one out of material entanglement. That is the true purpose of religion. Unfortunately, people accept religion for material prosperity because of atyaharah, or an excessive desire for such prosperity. True religion, however, instructs people to be satisfied with the bare necessities of life while cultivating Krishna consciousness. Even though we require economic development, true religion always allows it only for supplying the bare necessity of material existence. Jivasya tattva jignasa. The real purpose of life is to inquire about the absolute truth. If one endeavor, prayasa, is not to inquire about the absolute truth, we will simply increase our endeavor to satisfy our artificial needs. A spiritual aspirant should avoid mundane endeavor. Another,
Tattva jigyasa. What is the purpose of our life? Tattva jigyasa, to understand the real truth. So what is the real truth? In the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita 8 to 12, what was the last line? There will not be any other knowledge beyond this. Can anyone say what is the last line? Bhagavad Gita, open, 13th chapter, 8 to 12. Yes, open. Open or not? Etaj jnanam, adhyatma jnana nityatvam, tattva jnanartha darshanam. That is the only purpose of our life. Adhyatma jnana nityatvam, to understand our relationship. Tattva jnanartha darshanam, by which we can understand our relationship with Krishna. So understanding our position, understanding our relationship with Krishna, that is tattva jnana. So jivasya tattva jigyasa. In this way, tattva jigyasa, to know about the real truth. Adhyatma jnana nityatvam, tattva jnana darshanam. So adhyatma jnana, tattva jnana. So understanding the nature of the absolute, the nature of oneself, understanding our relationship, that is tattva jigyasa. Athato brahma jigyasa, jivasa tattva jigyasa, that has been spoken here. So what is true religion? True religion emphasizes on understanding our relationship with Krishna or cultivating Krishna consciousness. Okay, Jummo, read from here.
Another impediment is prajlpo, unnecessary talking. When we meet with a few friends, we immediately begin unnecessary talking, sounding just like croaking toads. If we must talk, we should talk about the Krishna consciousness movement. Those outside of the Krishna consciousness movement are interested in reading heaps of newspapers, magazines, and novels, solving crossword puzzles, and doing many other nonsensical things. In this fashion, people simply waste their valuable time and energy. In the Western countries, old men retired from active life play cards, fish, watch television, and debate about useless socio-political schemes. All these and other frivolous activities are included in the prajlpo category. Intelligent persons interested in Krishna consciousness should never take part in such activities.
Okay. So here very nicely it has been said, wasting time just for having some friends. This type of just for maintaining friends, talking something nonsense, not required. Real suhrada is the devotees. One need not have such social gatherings, talk something which is not having any sense. As much as possible, speak about Krishna. To hook a person, you can for some time talk something nonsense and somehow hook a person. Like somebody came to Srila Prabhupada. He was speaking about football. The Prabhupada spoke more about football and he was wondering how this old man knows so much about football. So just to impress someone, you can show such show off can be done. But ultimately, why friendship is required? So that you can train yourself also, others also in Krishna consciousness. That is why friendship is there. or why friends are required, not necessary. Okay, read from here further, Jumon.
Please. Jana-sanga refers to associating with persons not interested in Krishna consciousness. One should strictly avoid such association. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has therefore advised us to live only in the association of Krishna conscious devotees, Bhakta Sanevasa. One should always engage in the service of the Lord in the association of the Lord's devotees. Association with those engaged in a similar line of business is very conducive to advancement in that business. Consequently, materialistic persons form various associations and clubs to enhance their endeavors. For example, in the business world, we find such institutions as the stock exchange and chamber of commerce. Similarly, we have established the International Society for Krishna Consciousness to give people an opportunity to associate with those who have not forgotten Krishna. This spiritual association offered by our ISKCON movement is increasing day by day. Many people from different parts of the world are joining this society to awaken their dormant Krishna consciousness.
As such, human is called as a social animal. That means he needs a society, he needs friends, no doubt. Then Prabhupada says, we have only made a nice society, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. When all the devotees come together, gather together, chant about Krishna, and then have prasadam. What party and all these things are there out in the outside world? This is a spiritual party, isn't it? A spiritual party where all the devotees get together, do the congregational chanting, hear to some wonderful lecture. Yes. And in this way, the weekends are celebrated. Okay. From here, Narayana read.
Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes in his Anuvritti commentary that too much endeavor to acquire knowledge on the part of mental speculators or dry philosophers falls within the category of atyaharah, collecting more than needed. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, the endeavor of philosophical speculators to write volumes of books on dry philosophy, devoid of Krishna consciousness, is entirely futile. The work of karmis who write volumes of books on economic development also falls within the category of atyahara. Similarly, those who have no desire for Krishna consciousness and who are simply interested in possessing more and more material things, either in the shape of scientific knowledge or monetary gain, are all included under the control of atyahara. Karmis labor to accumulate more and more money for future generations only because they do not know their future position. Interested only in getting more and more money for their sons and grandsons, such foolish persons do not even know what their position is going to be in the next life. There are many incidents that illustrate this point. Once a great karmi accumulated a vast fortune for his sons and grandsons, but later, according to his karma, he took his birth in a cobbler's house, located near the building which in his previous life he had constructed for his children. It so happened that when this very cobbler came to his former house, his former sons and grandsons bait him with shoes. Unless the karmis and jnanis become interested in Krishna consciousness, they will simply continue to waste their life in fruitless activities. Accepting
this cobbler, what happened? He was a rich man, but he's born as a. He came to his farmhouse. He's beaten. So actually, whatever we are enjoying is only according to our karma. It is not according to how much we have accumulated. A person may strive so hard to accumulate many things. But if in his karma there is no enjoyment, he will never enjoy. But there is a person who is not doing much endeavor, but he is enjoying. So enjoyment has nothing to do with your hard work. Or it has nothing to do with your accumulation. You may have so much of property, but there is hardly anybody with whom you'll enjoy. Then what is the use of such property? You read.
accepting some of the scriptural rules and regulations for immediate benefit, as utilitarians advocate, is called niyamagrahah, and neglecting the rules and regulations of the Shastras, which are meant for spiritual development, is called niyamagrahah. The word agraha means eagerness to accept, and agraha means failure to accept. By the addition of either one of those two words to the word niyama, rules and regulations, the word niyamagrahah is formed. Thus, niyamagrahah has a twofold meaning that is understood according to the particular combination of words. Those interested in Krishna consciousness should not be eager to accept rules and regulations for economic development. Yet, they should very faithfully accept scriptural rules and regulations for the advancement of Krishna consciousness. They should strictly follow the regulative principles by avoiding illicit sex, meat eating, gambling, and intoxication. One should
Four
also,
regulatory principles have been given. One has to strictly follow, and it is for our own spiritual advancement we are following these rules and regulations. That is, no meat eating, by which the compassion is maintained. If there is no meat eating, naturally one of the principles, compassion. No illicit sex, purity is there. No gambling, truthfulness is maintained, and no intoxication. Tapasya can be done, austerity can be done. So it should be not just a show off, it is for our own our own spiritual advancement. Okay, Gadadhar Prabhu, read from here. Gadadhar Prabhu, unmute yourself. Unmute. Okay, till that time.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Dandavat Namaste. One should also avoid association with Mayavadis who simply blaspheme Vaishnava's devotees, Bhuktikamis who are interested in material happiness, Muktikamis who desire liberation by merging in the existence of the formless absolute Brahman, and Siddhikamis who desire the perfection of mystic yoga practice are classified as atyaharis. To associate with such person is not at all desirable. Desire to expand the mind, Hare Krishna, desire to expand the mind by perfecting mystic yoga, merging in the existence of Brahman, or attaining whimsical material prosperity, are all included within the category of greed, laulyam. All attempts to acquire such material benefits are so-called spiritual advancement or impediments on the path of Krishna consciousness. Modern, can I continue, Mataji? Modern warfare waged between capitalists and communists is due to their avoiding the advice of Sri Rupa Goswami regarding atyaharah. Modern capitalists accumulate more wealth than necessary, and the communists, envious their prosperity, want to nationalize all wealth and property. Unfortunately, the communists do not know how to solve the problem of wealth and its distribution. Consequently, when the wealth of the capitalist falls into the hands of the communists, no solution results. Opposed to these two philosophies, the Krishna conscious ideology states that all wealth belongs to Krishna. Thus, unless all wealth comes under the administration of Krishna, there can be no solution to the economic problem of man. Nothing can be solved placing wealth in the
Your
hands
voice
of
is not heard
communists.
properly. 1 minute. Okay, till here. So now communism and capitalism has been spoken. Communism is trying to distribute the wealth. There also it doesn't work properly. Capitalist is just trying to hoard the wealth. But beyond this is the understanding that Ishavasi midam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagattena tektena bhunjitam agrutakasya suddhalam is going to come for you. This verse is going to come in Ishopanishad. Ishavasi midam sarvam. Everything belongs to Krishna. If a person understands this, then he He will never misuse the wealth that has been given. And tena tektena bhunjita. He will, everybody is given his share according to his karmas. So another person will not try to occupy that person's share. So everybody has been given their shares according to their karmas. Okay, from here, Gadi Prabhu, read.
Krishna Mataji. This is, I think, last is opposed to these two philosophies. Krishna conscious, opposed to these two philosophies, the Krishna conscious ideology states that all wealth belongs to Krishna. Thus, unless all wealth comes under the administration of Krishna, there can be no solution to the economic problem of mankind. Nothing can be solved by placing wealth in the hands of communist or capitalist. If a $100 bill is lying on the street, someone may pick it up and put it in his pocket. Such a man is not honest. Another man may see the money and decide to let it remain there, thinking that he should not touch another's property. Although the second man does not steal the money for his own purposes, he is unaware of its proper use. The third man, who sees the $100 bill, may pick it up, find a man who has lost it, and deliver it to him. This man does not steal the money to spend for himself, nor does he neglect it and let it lie in the street. By taking it and delivering it to the man who has lost it, this man is both honest and wise. Simply transferring wealth from capitalist to communist cannot solve the problem of modern politics, for it has been demonstrated that when a communist gets money, he uses it for his own sense gratification. The wealth of the world actually belongs to Krishna, and every living entity, man and animal, has the birthright to use God's property for his maintenance. When one takes more than his maintenance requires, be he a capitalist or communist, he is a thief, and as such is liable to be punished by the laws of nature. The wealth of the world should be used for the welfare of the all living entities, for that is the plan of Mother Nature. Everyone has right to live by utilizing the wealth of the Lord. When people learn the art of scientifically utilizing the Lord's property, they will no longer encroach upon one another's rights. Then an ideal society can be formed. The basic principle for such spiritual society is stated in the first mantra of Sri Ishopanishad. Isavasyam idam sarvam
Yatkincha
yatkincha
jagatyam jagat
jagatyam jagat tena taktena bhunjita ma grudaha
kasya
kasya
svidhanam
kasyasvida dhanam
kasya svidhanam
kasya svidhanam.
Read.
Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota, and should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. The conscious devotees know very well that this material world is designed by the complete arrangement of the Lord to fulfill all the necessities of life for all living beings without their having to encroach upon the life of or rights of the one another. This complete arrangement affords the proper quota of wealth for everyone according to his real needs, and thus everyone may live peacefully according to the principle of plain living and high thinking.
Okay. So simple living, high thinking. Just be satisfied with the quota which Krishna has given to us. Tena tektena bhunjita, whatever is required, Krishna gives to a particular person. We don't have to snatch others' property. Kasya svidhanam tena tektena bhunjita ma gruta kasya svidhanam. Okay, from here read. Neeraj Prabhu, read.
Unfortunately, materialists who have neither faith in the plan of God nor any aspiration for higher spiritual development misuse their God-given intelligence only to augment their material possessions. They devise many systems, such as capitalism and materialistic communism, to advance their material possession. They are not interested in the laws of God or in a higher goal, always anxious to fulfill their unlimited desires for sense gratification. They are conspicuous by their ability to exploit their fellow living beings. When human society gives up these elementary faults enumerated by Srila Rupa Goswami, atyaharah, etc., all enmity will cease between men and animals, capitalists and communists, and so forth. In addition, all problems of economic or political maladjustment and instability will be solved. The pure consciousness is awakened by the proper spiritual education and practice offered scientifically by the Krishna consciousness movement. This Krishna consciousness movement offers a spiritual community that can bring about a peaceful condition in the world. Every intelligent man should purify his consciousness and rid himself of the above mentioned 6 hindrances to devotional service by taking wholehearted shelter of this Krishna consciousness movement. Hare Krishna.
So Prabhupada says, take advantage of the society made, take advantage of International Society for Krishna Consciousness, because it is the only society where you get the higher teachings, the teachings of Lord, where we revive our lost consciousness. Prabhupada says, take advantage, take wholehearted shelter of the Krishna conscious movement. So here we'll stop. Any questions you can ask.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. What's the question?
Mataji, I have a question. I just wanted to confirm a simple thing. Like in this verse and the purport especially, like we are reading that fundamentally it is not required for getting into capitalism or communalism or anything of those sort. We have to trust, Krishna, and whatever is required, that needs to be consumed, and that is what we need to be there, acquiring, and over endeavor is not required. So I just wanted to understand, Mataji, how do we understand what is our level? So that we don't know whether, like, I don't know whether it is over endeavor or it is just required, or maybe it is under right now. I don't know how to.
Whatever required to keep your body and soul together, and keep the ones who are related to you, keep their body and soul together. For that, whatever endeavor is done, and that endeavor is not causing any hindrances in your spiritual activity, then that much endeavor can be done. Your 16 round japa is you are able to do, you are able to read, you are able to attend the class. Then what you're doing is limited or minimum efforts to keep everyone, whoever are related to you, in a peaceful way. When you say bare necessities, that doesn't mean that you just have one cloth. Because you have to live in a society, you may have some clothes. It's not that don't. Prabhupada did not say just have 1 or 2 clothes. How much is required to maintain yourself in a particular way? That much, for that much individuation, that is enough. That should not come in the way of your devotion service. That is most important. Okay. Hope it's clear.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you.
Yes. Anyone else? Anyone? No doubts.
Krishna Mataji.
Yeah.
This niyamagrahah, it has the word is same, but meanings are different. No? 2 meanings are there.
Agraha means aw. Agraha. Agraha means no.
Acha.
Pronunciation
is different. One is agraha.
Niyamagrahah. One is niyamagrahah. Niyamagrahah. Niyamagrahah.
Agraha means inviting, accepting. Agraha.
Accepting. Agraha. You say no, please take.
Agraha.
Agraha. Agraha means no.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Naino is speaking something.
Hare Krishna.
Tell one shloka. Tell one shloka.
Paramam Bhavan.
शुरू से बोलो.
Param Brahma. Param Dhamma.
Pavitram Paravam Bhava.
Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. Purusham Sasvatam Nityam. Adi Devam Majam Vivam.
Ahustam Rishaya Sarve.
नहीं याद हुआ भाई. फुल पार्टी वो याद नहीं हुआ अभी.
वो याद नहीं हुआ.
Okay, very good. Pancha Kalpatarubyascha. She's also
कृपा सिंधु बेबच पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः.
Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Nainu ki jai.